Hello everyone, it is I, Fable, your new best friend. I'm reacting to another video. This time it's something different. It's by Imperial Knowledge. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, bud. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it, forgive me. I like the Elder Scrolls series. I really do. It's interesting. A lot of the stuff is kind of cool and interesting, and I want to kind of learn more about it. If you guys want to, join me on this journey, feel free to do so. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, follow this guy and tell him he's doing a great job. He deserves it. This is my first time watching one of his videos, but he seems like a swell guy so far. So let's go. Let's see what this is about. It's called the Black Marsh's Creepy Argonian Bod Blights. Ooh, I love the Black Marsh. It's so creepy, and we know literally zero things about it, which is hilarious to me. Oh dear. There's something outside. I think I'm being summoned by the ghouls.
Tamriel is full of interesting and dangerous creatures, and we've talked about many of them on this channel in the past. But one quite interesting creature that I've yet to talk about is the Bog Blight. Strange undead creatures native to the marshes of Black Marsh that have a really interesting backstory. So, strap yourselves in, because today I'll talk about them in detail after the intro.
Yeah, no, that sounds like fun, guys. I want to learn more about these undead motherfuckers.
There's Bog Blights, or the Dead Not Dead, as called by the Argonians. They're strange masked undead Argonian zombies of the swamps, native to the marshes of Black Marsh. Usually they can be found in groups in specific sections of the swamp that are said to have strange water. Now, in order to fully understand what these creatures are and how they came about, you need to know a little bit about the Argonian customs around death and funerals. You see, when an Argonian dwelling in Black Marsh dies, their tribe makes them a wooden funerary mask and then lays their body to rest somewhere in the marshes. But then their body is not left alone. Instead, the body that is laid to rest is impaled with a so-called zulvat, a large, richly decorated grave stake used to impale corpses laid to rest in the marshes.
Well, that's actually a really interesting funeral rite, because there's different tribes and different cultures do different funeral rites. I think there's some cultures that, especially some like tribes and stuff, that believe in eating the flesh of their dead to try to release their spirit. Which, again, be respectful about different funeral rites, guys. Please, everyone's different, and every culture does need to be respected in certain ways, especially if it's not harming others. But if it's harming others in the worst way possible, then yeah. But that's nor here nor there.
This stake is quite long and is made so that if the corpse gets covered in marsh water, people can still see where a corpse had been laid to rest. And not just that, the Zulvat also functions as a sort of gravestone or memorial monument.
Yeah,
because on a Zulvat are rich wood carving decorations that tell the story of the Argonian who was laid to rest. The story on the gravestake, according to the few Argonians who are willing to share information on the subject, is actually quite really comprehensive and does not just tell about the life of the one who was laid to rest, but also about who their friends were, what their goals in life were, and what their fears were. Basically a complete story of the Argonian laid to rest. But the Zulvat is not just a sort of gravestone, it also pins a dead Argonian's corpse to the ground so that if their body gets covered with marsh water, it does not float to the surface, as it's eventually always covered by waters of the marsh. It also makes it so that if the body reanimates as a zombie, because the soul cannot move on or for any other reason, then the body is pinned to the ground and cannot raise, meaning that the zombie cannot roam free and terrorize the local population. The interesting thing is that in some...
I think it's kind of interesting the fact that they're like, this is a way to honor our dead. But just in case, if a zombie does try to come back to life, no. I think that's actually kind of funny. I liked it so far, but the fact that it's just like, no, zombie, no, so friggin' funny to me.
Areas of Black Marsh, there seems to be something in the water. At least that's the theory of some of the in-universe people who studied them, which makes it so that there is a really high chance in some places of the marsh for the bodies to get reanimated into zombies, or bog blights as some call them. Now, as long as these bodies stay submerged and impaled with the Zulvat, then they are essentially harmless. They can't hurt anyone, and as some sources suggest, they won't even move, and they will act like a completely still corpse as long as they are impaled and submerged in the water. However, some people, for a variety of reasons, sometimes take the Zulvats from the swamps when they see them sticking from the water. For example,
Why?
curious non-Argonians who want to know what the stakes are, or historians and scholars trying to document Argonian society, who take them to study the stories engraved on the Zulvats. What these people don't know, however, is that by taking the Zulvat from one of these submerged bodies, that will awaken these bodies that have become undead. You see, while some bodies will simply float to the surface, lifeless, others will rise and become bog blights, or dead not dead, as the Argonians call them.
I mean,
These half-rotten corpses then form hideous Argonian zombies, wearing their wooden funeral masks, and often with large holes somewhere in their abdomen where the Zulvat used to be. And to quickly talk about those masks, the Argonians actually refuse to share why they laid their dead to rest with a wooden mask, but some on Tamriel speculate that it is so that their former friends are not recognizable if they ever do get reanimated as a bog blight or a dead not dead. Now,
it made sense given the fact that I don't think you guys would want to, try to hurt a loved one who passed away and then all of a sudden their shambling corpse came after you. There's been a lot of movies and a lot of shows that show, like movies, stories, shows that prove that it's kind of next to impossible to do that. Even though if you know it's the right thing to do and putting them to rest, it's kind of hard.
Something that we don't know is whether or not bog blights are intelligent enough to realize their own creation process. Because while outsiders pulling the Zulvats sets the bog blights free, we don't know whether bog blights know how this works and make use of it as well. So simply put, we don't know if bog blights pull Zulvats of other corpses so that they can free other bog blights. We don't know whether they do that. Now, what's also interesting is that these bog blights do still very much seem to need the swamp water, as they need to keep themselves immersed in the water in order to stay undead. Because when they are taken out of the water, a strange chemical process in their reanimated bodies makes it so that their bodies violently explode after a while, and before the explosion, they leave a trail of toxic air which can poison those in their path. Which is very weird and interesting, and to me suggests that perhaps the sulfur in the water of the swamps has something to do with their bodies being reanimated, which would be interesting, but unfortunately we simply don't know. Now, to no one's surprise, some have tried to weaponize this process of reanimation of bog blights. For example, if you have a place where you are hiding some treasure, or you want a place to be guarded for free, why not pull the Zulvats in the area around the place you want guarded from the marshes, and then if you yourself want to enter the guarded area, you simply need to bring rotting meat with a really strong stench, as the bog blights seem to only be interested in the actually living, and will stay away from those smelling like death, which is interesting. Now, I personally find these creatures to be quite interesting as far as undead go, with the whole story and ritual around them. They are just far more than some generic swamp zombie, and I like it. Especially their design, as you can really see in their design how they were created, with the whole stake being pulled out of their bodies. I don't know. It's a bit weird, but I like it. Now, that having...
It sounds a bit vampiric, if you know that sense, because, like the whole thing where vampires have to be staked in the heart. I don't know if it's 100% true depending on the media, but it sounds like that to me.
Being said, that's about all I can say about bog blights, and I sincerely hope that you enjoyed this video.
I loved
managed
it,
to
dude.
teach you something new about the Elder Scrolls lore today. And if I did, why not give the video a like, as that's how the YouTube algorithm decides which content is worthy and what kind of content is not. By the way, like I said in my latest community post, I kind of have a lot of things to deal with right now in my personal life, so sorry for the lack of videos, but I'm working on some cool stuff, so stay tuned. Anyway, all that's left for me to be done is to thank my top Patreon supporters, Mr. Bernardo Binda, Gabriel Binda, Doji, Hunter Joe, K-Legend King Chris 20, RB Dash, Volkier of Argonia, Devin Mattingly, Rakai, and Sordo Bushido. These people, along with all the others on screen, keep my channel afloat, and for that I am very grateful. That said, I will see you all in the next Elder Scrolls lore video, probably next week, although for this one, probably a little earlier.
Let's see, wait, what's that say? What did it say?
Probably a little earlier.
Nord will turn 16 and make one of these their entire personality. I'm sorry, what is the last one? So it's either mining, drinking, or smithing. I don't get the last one, but okay. Anyway. Yeah, no, seriously, dude, my guys, that's actually sounds great. We should, I want to react more to this kind of content, if anyone's interested in it. I love the Elder Scrolls series, and it might give me some ideas for my own world building. You know, so yeah, if you guys like this kind of stuff, let me know. It'd be great. Make sure to follow Imperial Knowledge, please. They seem like a good guy. He seems like he's doing a lot of cool content about the Elder Scrolls stuff. So yeah, give him a follow, give him a like, tell him hi for some reason. Alright, anyway, love you all. I will see you all later. Bye. Remember, doing a donathon. I'll leave a link in the description to this video, so that way you can find his channel and all that good stuff. Anyway, love you. Bye.